Dabuz with Rosalina to match his own. And if need be, we may very well see Vinnie's Cloud. I don't know if we'll be seeing his Sheik, but that remains to be seen as we move into Game 1. Never mind, spoke too soon. It is, in fact, going to be Sheik starting things off for Smash Bros.
And that's a very bold option to choose because Dabuz definitely fights the best of the best. But again, that does kind of just say how confident Vinnie is in his play. Does not matter who you beat in the past, you got to beat me today.
Absolutely. And both these players seeming very confident in their play. I'm rather interested to see where Vinnie intends to take this particular set, starting things off with Sheik. Normally his Sheik is very good at being able to slow down his opponents, force them into limited options, and then punishing them for said options. However, Dabuz is a beast of an entirely different breed. He is not to be stopped by his opponent's plans and is often seen being able to outthink and outmaneuver his opponents with Rosalina's tools.
Right now, Dabuz, you know, definitely doing what he does best. Uma is gone, but I don't think that's going to stop him too much. That's one thing that Dabuz has added to his play and has just made him so much more of a threat is the fact he's not afraid to fight you without Luma nowadays.
Yeah, the way that the Rosalina meta has developed as far as behind how a lot of Western Rosalinas play is instead of just waiting for Luma to come back and sitting around patiently, giving their opponents a lot of stage control and letting them sort of regain their composure. Instead, Dabuz sort of hangs around in this bubble of space where the opponent needs to do something. Rosalina's right there, but at the same time, Rosalina still has plenty of time to react with her own moves. A lot of people tend to discredit how good of a character Rosalina is in her own right.
Right there, her demonstrating a little bit of what you were saying. No Luma needed. That down smash connected with Rosalina's feet just by herself. I like that. It's such a tricky setup and good stuff on Dabuz. Kind of in a scramble right there, man, to secure that kill. But you know, a lot of times when Rosalina is recovering, you have to guess if she's going to up air or not. And Dabuz just so good at kind of tricking his opponent and being able to recover for free.
He manages to catch his opponents in particular trends and getting them into habits so that he can punish them later on, whether it's the short-term work or the long con that he works his opponents into. And Vinnie happens to be aware of that, but no matter how aware of it you are, you could still be a victim of it. Vinnie's going to turn the tides with an up air, try to hang towards the ledge a little bit, force an approach from Dabuz.
And it took Vinnie a while, but he did get it done, so kudos to him. You know, and that was just a nice combo of recognizing really the most effective way of ending Rosalina's stock. Right now, he was above Dabuz. That is such a scary position, but he does manage to find the ground eventually. And only taking 31%. Very few players can say they've been above Dabuz and landed with only 31% on them.
Yeah, it's definitely a task that requires reward afterwards. And unfortunately, the only reward Vinnie's going to be getting is just a second chance at being able to take off stock from Dabuz. And there's not a moment to breathe in this match, as we already see Dabuz set Vinnie up to get juggled and take plenty of damage.
Yeah, and the damage is what Dabuz is doing. It's just so phenomenal to watch his control of Luma and how he just capitalizes off the positions, because you're worried about a Luma hitbox and then he'll grab you or he'll put Luma in the perfect spot. But speaking of that, Vinnie right now putting Dabuz in the perfect spot, punishing each recovery attempt 2 frames and just not letting Dabuz land. Luma finally coming into play and Dabuz getting some breathing room.
Vinnie going to try to make some use of Needle Storm, try and contest Luma. We've seen throughout this match that he's been very slowly working away at getting rid of Luma, not really letting too much of his focus be on the star unless Dabuz is on the opposite side of the stage or in severe disadvantage. Nonetheless, though, I like this tried and true method that Vinnie's going for. He knows he needs to play things slow, and Dabuz is forced to respect that.
And Dabuz doesn't respect a lot of things. So that says a lot about Vinnie as a player. Dabuz actually trying to go for a down air, not setting up Luma, which he has been doing, and Vinnie gonna take game number 1. Beautiful up smash right there.
And it's not often that we get to see such fresh options from either of these players, so for Vinnie to just run up and up smash, managed to catch us both by surprise and get him that game 1. Yeah,
that was just so smart and so bold, you know? One, obviously Dabuz, one of the most phenomenal players on the planet. But number 2, he's been going for hard edge guard attempts. Even if it's not connecting, you know, every time you're off stage, if you get 2 framed by down air, that's it. And they are going to take this to Town and City right now. Rosalina ditto. Vinnie winning with Sheik, but saying, you know, right here, when you can kill off the top so early, I'd like the option to do it back to you.
When Vinnie has the steam behind him, he tends to play towards the map as opposed to just whatever he's feeling comfortable with, because he knows he can take advantage of maps like Town and City, take advantage, of course, of these platforms, how they support the type of pressure that Rosalina can build up on an opponent. And as we see from the juggling of Lumas, both these players have the right set of mind.
It's almost like Vinnie read Dabuz's book, so he's just a little behind him on it, but he's keeping up exactly. And 38-32, and speaking of that, Vinnie actually taking the lead. Again, I watched Dabuz play a Rosalina earlier, and he made such quick work of him that it almost looked unwinnable. Vinnie's showing that he knows how to do it just as good as the master himself, and both of these players are flinging each other back and forth.
With Vinnie losing his Luma, it's a little bit of an opportunity for Dabuz to take things back into his control. He's going to wait for an air dodge, punish it as such, and these percentages are starting to close themselves in evenly.
Vinnie's taking his time so he can get Luma back. Does finally get her back. Still has a lead, but Dabuz just getting rid of Luma so quickly and taking the lead right off of it. And he does take that stock. Unfortunately for him, does get hit with that back air. Vinnie was trying to recover, but he's not that far down. One good up air, and he definitely can tie it back up.
Most certainly. One of the things that I like to see in this particular ditto between these two is you really get a chance to see how different their styles of movement are. With Vinnie, it's much more methodical, it's much more calculated as to where he's positioning himself. Dabuz, it's much more fluid. He has a finer understanding of where he can use and abuse Rosalina's tools and how he can position himself to use it as such.
And speaking of that, you know, Dabuz just did a 2-for-1. He hit Luma and Rosa at the same time, and that was just great stuff to watch. And right after that, he takes it with a 2-stock. You know, it looked very competitive at first, the way Vinnie was keeping up with Dabuz's pace. But in the end, Dabuz not even losing a stock and just showing that he can really take advantage of this matchup if you give him the opportunity.
There is a good reason why a lot of people put Dabuz up there as the top Rosalina and one of the top players in the world. And if anything, I feel like that one match, just a little bit of a microcosm to showcase that he knows what he's doing behind Rosa.
And indeed, we are coming to Lylat Cruise. Vinnie saying, you know what, it's time to bring the Sheik back out. It worked once for me, maybe it'll work again. Dabuz, I'm sure, is very familiar with the stage. Many have probably taken him here, especially with Lylat being a little more difficult to recover because of those ledges.
On top of that, I feel like Needlestorm provides a lot more space for Vinnie to control this particular stage. Lylat Cruise is kind of a claustrophobic stage. The platforms are close in. The stage itself is rather small. Recovering on it can be very awkward. All of these are factors that Sheik is no stranger to taking advantage of for any type of opponent.
Hopefully Vinnie's able to take advantage of that and defeat, you know, Dabuz, which would be quite the feat. I know you said that he always keeps it close, but still, at the end of the day, Dabuz has a name, and there's definitely a bullseye on his back because of it. But right now, you know, Dabuz definitely taking that lead up about 30% or so at the moment. Vinnie trying to fire back, and unfortunately, when you are fighting a character like Rosalina and your Sheik, you definitely want to be in the lead because you kill so late, and just like that, you know, Rosalina takes the stock because Rosalina kills so early.
I think you brought up a really good point about this particular matchup, in that Sheik has to put in a lot of work for getting that percentage built up onto an opponent to set up for very specific kills. However, Rosalina is the kind of character who loves having a little bit of rage behind her, because when she's got a little bit of those extra numbers, her, and especially Luma, can really put the pressure back onto the opponent and then some.
At least on the plus, Vinnie has been very proficient at two-framing Rosalina. Oh, that up B was a little early right there. Does connect with the down tilt. We're going to see what he's going to opt for there. Again, trying to end it. You know, he's obviously has the down tilt that he can do consistently, but there was no kill setup he could have done afterwards. And he's just trying to get rid of Dabuz's stock because this rage is going to play such a major role.
He's got to do what he can to eliminate this target. However, things are proving very difficult. Vinnie trying to eliminate both Rosalina and Luma at the same time. He needs to put his efforts behind one or the other target, unfortunately. Now he does manage to remove the Luma. However, if he can manage the kill onto the Rosa, then things are going to look a lot better for him. That down tilt you were talking about finally comes into play. Vinnie manages to net the stock.
He does do it, and that's how he ended the game earlier. I'm sorry, not how he ended it. How he took stock number one of game number one was off a down tilt to up air at about the same percent, up around 140 or so. So that might be the win condition. Unfortunately, killing Dabuz at 140 is no easy feat, especially when
air
he's
dodging
that early. Maybe it's a little nerves, maybe a little frustration.